Right. Well, good evening, everyone. I think,
yeah.
Actually, could I ask everyone to put themselves on mute? We've got there. Always waiting for you people to come through. Thanks for that. Right. So my name's Simon Lovesey. I know a few of the names on here, but actually good to see some new names as well. I'm joined by James Ripley, who's our RWA race officer. Perhaps you just say hello, James.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Right, let's sort of get in. So right, I'm going to my phone, share my screens. This session is being recorded, so we will make that available and notes on the website from tomorrow. If you do have any questions, do put them in the chat box. I don't know if you're all familiar with that at the bottom of the screen, and then we can try and take the questions. But do put them as we go along, and if James and I spot anything that's relevant, we'll perhaps dip in and come back later. Or if you have any questions, just sort of send us an email afterwards, and we'll try and fill them in. Right, let's try and share my screen. See that? Right, okay. So this is the sailor briefing for the Selden Sailjuice Spring Series. So a bit of a new venture. Many of you be familiar with the Selden Sailjuice Winter Series, which sees over 1,000 competing. Currently been a bit of a challenge. We managed to get the Datchet flyer away. I see we've got Ian Duke from Datchet there. But that was the only event we managed to do. And unfortunately, COVID sort of, we managed to fit that in between lockdowns. But for those who might be familiar, we were actually running the summer events, the Great British Sailing Challenge, into the Sailjuice Winter Series. I know it all sounds a bit perverse, but that's the nature of it. But what we're doing in the meantime, when actually sort of sailing is a bit limited, is we were running the remote series, which is about what this is about. There's a few more. If you just bear with me, just I think join the waiting room. So let me just see if we can. Just join those in. Submitting a few more. Right. Okay. So I think most of you had your trackers. There's a few signed up over the weekend who're still coming, but they should be coming shortly. Basically, if not familiar with me, just sort of stop the share there. That is the sort of the tracker unit. I think hopefully most of you have seen that. The key thing is that when you're using it, you're seeing the blue light going. That means it's getting a GPS signal, and you see that might have just locked on. And basically, it's just a matter of then just putting it in the bag as supplied, and just attaching that to your boat. Let's go back to my screen share. Let me see that. And the idea is you wrap it round, typically around your mast, but relatively high up, so it's sort of not get pounding. We found that it's sort of the lasers have a habit of putting it on their deck level, and the tracker gets a bit sort of wet at that sort of level, but better to put it high up near the boom, or even attach it to the boom. We hopefully supplied you a little plastic bag as well to go in it if it's really windy, just to give it a second sort of level of coverage. And really that's the fundamental part of this. We'll come on to the sort of controlling the races, but the important thing is you're recording your race, and that's done with the tracker. We can pretty much do anything else remotely. We've got the data, but if your tracker's not on and we haven't got any data, we can't do much about it. So key thing is to make sure tracker's on, blue light's on, attach to your boat, and go out sailing. And then the next bit really is about controlling the actual sort of race. And that's done by the app. There on the website is the guide to sort of download that. Let me just see where we go on to that. Come back to that in a minute. Let me just swap on to the, actually while I mention that, number of clubs have entered a few boats. And in that scenario, it'd be good if someone could identify themselves as the club lead. So we're not sort of dealing with 10 people from the same sort of club, just to sort of take a bit of a coordinating role. So if you've got more than yourself. If you're the only one in the club, you're the club lead. But if you've got, say, 3 or 4 boats from your same club, like sort of Prestwick's got quite a few, Bow Beach, there's a lot of sailing at Burfield. If someone could sort of nominate themselves as the club lead, that will help James and I in terms of identifying who to deal with. Right, let me go into the actual app itself. I don't know if there's any questions at the moment while we're going there. Right, just bear with me while I launch my iPhone onto. Right, hopefully you can see my iPhone. Can everyone see the iPhone? Thumbs up. Okay, good. Right, so if I just launch the app from up here, first thing you come into, this is the sort of the public view, and this is where you'll see all the races sort of playing out. You also would have got a web link as well, but let me quickly go through here. So we see Burfield at the top. They've already run a number of races, and I can then just quickly click into one of those races and see, so the race will load up. And this is one of their big sort of pursuit races, but we can sort of scroll through the race and we can see the race unpinning, the leaderboard on the left. So we can sort of replay it, which is very useful from a sort of a coaching tactical sort of view. And the other area to look into is the sort of the analytics, which is that sort of a second one on the right. And again, that has a number of screens that we can see, for example, the top fastest. So Dick Craig was slightly beaten in RS400, so it just shows you how fast people are going. And these are not sort of maximum speeds; these are sort of sustained speeds over 20 sort of seconds. If anyone's looked at any GPS data, you see some massive spikes going. So what we do is sort of just sort of average it out. And then if we come down to some of the other tacks, we can sort of drill down into all the individual legs, see different sort of performance data, and again, seeing speed over different sort of legs. So these are some of the areas it's well worth sort of getting in and drilling down into it, because you'll better see where your gains and losses are. So inevitably, people are good upwind, perhaps less downwind, or vice versa. And particularly when you've got other boats and boats of your other class, it's useful to sort of compare your sort of data. So that's the public view. And you should better find your sort of events in there. You can search on advanced search, sort of type in your club, so Burfield, Cowshot, whatever, and then just drill down into those sort of areas and find it. The key one from a sort of race management is actually putting your code in. I think some people got a bit confused about this. So you should have all been sent a code, but this is inputting firstly by clicking settings. So you see the bottom right column called settings, and then one called race admins, which is the sort of the bottom option with an arrow there, and you get a pop-up box here, and this is where you enter your code. So if I just put in my test code, get the right one. And you'll now see at the bottom of the screen, bottom right, an icon called Manage has popped up. So this means we've now got admin sort of rights. I think people have got a bit confused. There is one that says tracking code on there, and that's if you're using your phone for tracking. But the key one is the race admins, that one sort of near the middle of the screen, and that's where we're putting our code. And then when I click Manage now, I get my sort of race management sort of screen coming up. So that's the key part of entering all the sort of data. Before we go into that, there's one called Tracker Status. And this basically is showing the status of our trackers. It's loading that. This is for Paxton Lakes. Not quite sure if we've got anyone from Paxton here, but they're quite active in doing the solo event last year. And this shows us the tracker, and you see the one at the bottom, which is 3343. The tracker there was live 48 seconds ago and had a battery life of 80. So for club leads or before we go afloat, it's useful just to check your trackers on. So you'll see that the tracker is transmitting to it. The other two trackers are obviously switched off because they're in the post at the moment. So we don't want to track them in the courier system, but gives you a flavour from that. Now, before we go into sort of race management, there's a screen bottom right that's called buoys. Now, this is useful if your club has got fixed buoys, which pretty much applies, I think, to most clubs for sort of club racing, that we can put them in. And we actually have got quite a few clubs in there already. So this is Paxton Lake. If I click on view on map, we can see all their fixed buoys there. So this means setting the course is much easier because we're using the buoys already set in there. But just quickly to show you how to sort of get them in there. You see a plus at the top of the screen next to the Sail Racer logo. I can basically put a new buoy in. So I can put the name of the buoy, test buoy. And then I can give a description as an option. And then I can ping where it is. And that's come off my phone now. So that's just ping my location now, which is obviously a bit nonsensical because not too many buoys in my house at the moment. But the idea is if you're out on a boat, or interestingly, some sailors actually went out on a sup or a canoe and went around all their club buoys and ping them that way. We've had people, H2 sailors, actually go out and ping the buoys in their boats. So depending on how competent you are, the weather conditions, or you might actually have them in a database from the club. Quite a few clubs have recorded them. If you want to send that through, there's basically a spreadsheet with the name of the buoys and the long lats. We can put them in, and then that will make setting your course much easier. Okay, do let me know if you've got any questions. So coming on to now the race management screen. So this is where we basically are setting up our race sessions. So although we're recording the data all the time, we need to know some of the parameters of your race, i.e. when did it start and what was the course. They're the sort of key parts of it because that will help us derive all the sort of data and everything. So when you get your settings, you'll see a number of placeholder races. Now these actually that you'll see are in June, so they don't physically really exist. They're just placeholder races there. So if I click on race 1, sort of this will bring up the details of that. And this is where basically we put the race details in, starting from the course would be the first thing. So if I click on the course, and the course is basically we're putting the course sort of like this. So that would be a triangle, 1, 2, 3. But also if I want to use the preset buoys, I click on that allow preset lookup icon there. And I can now click up the lookup, and then I bring up the library of that club's buoys. So if I'd, in good Blue Peter fashion, already created those buoys already, I can then use, if I want to use Paxton 3, that brings it in and it knows where that is. So it knows all the sort of data. And then if we just change the start times, we change them sort of for now. And then we can come in and just change the start and finish time. So we're just setting the basically when the race is due to start and potentially when it's due to finish, typically say 45 minutes, an hour afterwards. Now you can come back and adjust this. So if you know your race is due to start at 11, on Saturday, you can just put that in and adjust it accordingly. But it's useful to set the session in advance. And also we can come back and put the wind speed and direction in. This is useful in terms of the scoring parameters that if we can get an average sort of wind speed. And this can be taken off either the club anemometer or a website. It doesn't need to be super accurate, but we just need to know if it's say, under 10 knots, more than 10 knots or 120 or whatever, just to give us a broad sort of parameters. And then if I click update race, it will actually create that race. And you can see that it started filling in some of the data. So it knew where Paxton 3 was because that was one of our predefined buoys from the database. and then it's sort of filled in start pin and start boat as well, because they were already in the system as well. So I guess that's a club line. But then we can come in and adjust these. So we see, you can see 1, 2, 3 are empty because we haven't referred to the database. So we can then come in and ping those now, or just enter the data accordingly to sort of fill them in. And then if we do show on the map, you see that a bit nonsensical. So half the boys are down on the south coast and half of them are up in the east. But if we just zoom in, we can sort of see where they are. And really, it's as simple as that. Let me just take screen share off. So right, I think we've got some questions coming through. Okay, don't think we have fixed marks at WP and S8. Okay, it doesn't really matter, Sarah. We can sort of you can ping them as you go along, or we can fill them in based on your sailing. Do we have to pair the tracker with the app? Well, the tracker is paired with the app already. So when we set your events up, we put your tracker in, and it was registered to your account. So that's why when you come through and see the tracker status, you can see your trackers coming through. Okay, Bob's got a question about the King George ones. I'll log into your account later and have a look at that. But if you've saved them, it should be there. But we can have a look at that. Ian's asked, I have check-in. Do I need to do anything about that? No, that's to do with the electronic tally. So each of the trackers has a electronic tally on that, which we use for the big events where people scan in and out. So don't worry about that. If you appear on the tracker list, you're in the race already. So that means you're in there. And for those clubs that have got more than one entry, we can give you access to a spreadsheet, so you can sort of change the names on there or update the boats accordingly. Right, so let's just move in. So let me just share my screen again. I think So I think I've gone through this. So basically the first thing is just to sign in, enter your code. Just share that. And then set the course. I don't know, James, do you want to have a word about sort of setting courses?
Yeah, of course.
Some of these sort of objectives, if possible.
Yeah. So obviously, because we're all racing at different venues around the UK, we're trying to use the algorithms to sort of score everybody equally. Now, in order for us to be able to do that in the best possible way, we want everyone to be sailing similar type of course configurations. Now, obviously, this is not necessarily possible at different venues, but what we've done is we've set out some basic parameters in the sailing instructions, which sort of the targets to try and achieve. So basically, what we're trying to achieve is an equal distance sailing upwind and downwind, for example. And if you're sailing a tidal venue, preferably equal distance sailing with and against the tidal flow. I've sent out some more parameters in the sailing instructions, but really it's just about getting the best sort of course you can for your particular venue. And like I say, the primary goal of the course you're sailing is to have approximate equal distance sailing up and downwind. So obviously we don't want one venue just doing a reaching course and somebody else just beating up for a mile. So that's the main aim of that sailing instruction, and I've explained it a bit more detail in the SIs.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean the preferred course is something like a trapeze, but recognise that doesn't always happen. I mean, Ian was involved with the K1 remote championships last year, and we ran that across a number of venues from the coast, Lyme Regis, up to the Lake District, and including the Little River Avon Tewkesbury Sailing Club, which is not much bigger than my room here, but we managed to sort of take the results out of that. So it can be done. So don't worry too much. But if you do have the luxury of being able to set a wider course, please do that. That will make things sort of much more sort of fairer. Right. Okay. there is a video which Tom Morris did about sort of pinging boys. Some of you may be familiar with Tom. He's become a bit of a rock star now. He did a lot of the AC America's Cup analysis, which was picked up by the national media. But he kindly did us a video last summer of sailing around Chichester Harbour, pinging all the boys there and putting them in the library. So it's quite a nice little exercise to do. You know, as I said, people have done it on canoes and sups and or rescue boats or whatever, so fun time out of the water, but quite useful if you do have fixed marks to get them in the database. It will make sort of life much easier as we go along. And then this was the screen, and these notes will be available on the website about setting up those courses and getting them in the sort of system. Right, I think, do you want to say any more about the SIs and the sort of safety sort of stuff, James?
Yeah, I'd just recommend going and having a quick look at the SIs. They're quite brief in comparison to a standard event, because obviously you're all racing at your individual venue, but they just cover some of the generic information on regards to how it's scoring the overall series and so forth. And as I say, some basic parameters for setting a course. There's also another document on some sort of remote safety aspects, because obviously we're the organising authority, we're acting centrally and remotely. Obviously as individual sailors, you're all responsible for your own safety, so we've just set out some basic parameters in a separate document, which is worth having a quick read. It's only a single page, so it's not too much in depth, but that just covers that really.
Okay, right. Thank you, James. Right, so a question from Sarah, I think down in
anything else you want me to cover, Simon?
No, I think that's it. So basically, it's just sort of making sure we read all the documents on the notice board. So a question from Sarah down in Weymouth. So can my daughter just go out and sail a course? She's usually out on her own, so no one to drop marks. Yeah, that's fine. If you not be able to get this course into the app or anything, just let us know the details and we can sort of figure it out. The important thing is to say you've got the tracker on, so we'll be getting the data. So if you want to just sort of drop us an email to say that you were out between sort of 11 and 12 and did a triangle or something like that, we can sort of figure out what the course was sailed and put it in there. So really don't worry if you can't get out there or ping a course, we can do that for you. There will be a map option coming later where you better draw your own course, but for the moment, if you just let us know. Right, okay. Another option that you'll see on the manage screen is scoring as you go back into a historic race. So if you need to adjust a score, not obviously to adjust a score in your favour, but there might be a sort of discrepancy or something like that. The app allows you to go in and say put the number of laps, put the number of finish times, or if someone was OCS, so you've got a big boat race that are going on and a few boats are OCS, you can actually put those sort of things in, or retired and things like that. So just use the app to sort of fill in any of the race management sort of details. In terms of the sort of scoring, we'll be taking obviously your data, analysing the race, seeing how you do, and basically comparing the courses. So we're looking at the course set. We know the length of the course. We know the angle of the course. We know the wind speed, the directions, and so forth. And then we can see all your leg data going on. So we get a performance analysis. So we're doing a boat handicap, which is based against the Great Lakes system, which is a variant of the RWA, which some of you will be familiar with. But then we're looking at a course handicap. So we're knowing how fast the course is, and that's where the sort of the clever analytics comes in to sort of see how it goes. And then there'll be a number of different rankings from sort of overall to different boat types, so fast asymmetric, slow symmetric, and so on, and then different sort of age groups and demographics. And for this sort of series, we'll be taking your best result, because one thing we've realized is for some people, they're going to be able to sail lots of races, and some people say they're going to struggle to sail just one race, and recognizing that clubs are going to take time to get back and restart over the next sort of 6 or so weeks. So to make it fair, we're going to basically take your best result. Obviously, the more you do, the more chance you're going to get a best result. And actually, for those who do lots of races, there will be some separate rankings based on sort of the best 5, best 10 results and things like that. So certainly worth doing as many as you can. But from the overall point of view, we'll be doing it on your sort of taking your best ranking, and that can be over any period up to now between the end of May. Question from Trevor. Anyone else at West Kirby? I think you're the only one at the moment, Trevor, but no. So you'll be winning the club prize, but there is the Trident Club Prize based on the best 3 results. So if you can get another couple of boats, that will help the club thing. And James will be liaising with sort of clubs to see if we get some more along. So more the merrier. But the idea is it doesn't really matter. You can go out on your own, Trevor, and get a result, or if you can get some of your mates along, we can take the results from there. Right. Okay. Any other questions from anyone else?
Okay. Can you just hear me there?
Yeah, I can hear you, Trevor. Good.
Sorry, just a question, because I'm the only one here now. We did 2 races over Easter.
Okay.
Just to qualify, what do we need to do? Because obviously the tracker's recorded it, but I need to put the start and finishing line. The buoys are movable because we're racing on a tide.
Right. Okay.
Finish line is the same.
Okay. So if you didn't set it up in the app, you'll need to send us the detail. The app only allows you to set up a future race, but that's not a problem. So if you can email me what time the race started,
Yeah.
i.e. approximately, I mean, we can work it out sort of thing, and what the course was.
Yes. It's a box course, and the start finish line is the same place. So
okay, so that's the sort of details, because we'll better get your track and see the map and see where you went. So then if we knew the race started at 11 o'clock, we can then set it from there and then put the course in and rebuild it and then go from there. And that applies to anyone. If you'd already gone out, and quite a few people had already gone out with the trackers, we hadn't obviously had time to set you up, and they can just send us the details. The beauty of the system is we're collecting all the data remotely, so we can sort of pretty much work out most things. We just need a few clues from you in terms of things. And even start times, we can work it out. We can see the boats sort of looping around and then firing off. So but the more you can send us. And then, yeah, if you send us the course, we can sort of draw that in.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Okay. Yep, sorry. No,
that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Right, good. Okay. Question from Jack. Is it possible to use the tracker on 2 different boats? I have a Terror and a 3000. Okay, that's a good range of boats there, Jack. Yeah, so we'll send you, I think you're from Port Wales, isn't it? I don't remember which club you're from now. But yeah, we'll send you the spreadsheet, and then you can edit the tracker and allocate it to a different boat. It'd be good if you get the right boat to the right tracker, because obviously there's a massive difference in PYs on 3000 and Terrace. The system will sort of chuck out anomalies. So if you've got the Terror being sailed by 3000, we will spot that. Don't worry. We'll send you a spreadsheet. And if anyone else wants access to their spreadsheet, let us know. So if you need to swap the tracker onto sort of different boats, and I guess that could be quite fun. You know, you compare your different results in different boats. Right. Okay. Any other questions from anyone else? No? Okay, so we will be posting a recording of this online in the next sort of a day or so, and all the sort of notes, and I think really just go out there and have fun. I'd say the important thing is just to take the tracker out there. Don't really worry about anything else. We can work it out, and you'll get the hang of it soon. Right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.